As we continue on, part 8, Dollars Up, Cornelio. Aarao Cornelio Jr. As soon as the music started, I thought I was listening to a whole other person. Oh shit, Jack. I said, who's this rapping? I said, quit playing. That's me. Where did this guy come from? You sound like someone lit a fire under your ass. Yeah. That bullshit in the office the other day really gave me the motivation that I've been looking for. I don't know why I didn't see this in you before, I said. I didn't even see it in myself, sir. How could you? I'm sorry for doubting you. What do you mean? I should have took a chance on you sooner. That's cool, sir. I wasn't ready then. Are you ready now? Hell yeah. What if the Pharaoh comes at you? I can handle that. Are you sure? Yeah, sure. Okay. From now on, you're going to be working with Lady Godiva as her A&R, and if the project does good, I'll let you ghostwrite for her until you have more material. Then we'll focus on your project. Can I do both at the same time? If you can handle it. Can you handle it? Yes, sir. Okay. Then the job is yours. So when do I sign? Let me talk it over with the team, see who's on board to help you with your project, and I'll let you know. In the meantime, I want you to get your scribbles back before I put you in the booth again. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I won't let you down. I know you won't. You're welcome again. After meeting with Adam, I slid to the crib to meet up with my wifey, Michelle, who I know is upset by now for me being so late to supper. Well, look what the cat brought in, she said as I walked through the door. Quit playing, babe. What was Adam? How was Adam? He's doing better. What did he say? He wants to be the headliner at Stacks for Life. What about the Pharaoh? I'm most likely gonna drop him, fire him from the label. I think that's a wise decision. Do you think he's going to give you any problems at the office? Nah, we'll be alright. I let the head of security know my plans, and he'll ensure the safety of the team comes before anything. Okay, babe. I'm proud of you for making such a tough decision this quickly. I had to do it for the team. I couldn't see anyone else get hurt, all the while lose our place in the building because of one artist's misconduct. Get some rest, honey, she said. We can go out another night. I'll bring your plate up to you. By the time I got upstairs to our bed, I passed out so quickly that it was 9 a.m. again. Babe, time to get up. You were so tired I hit snooze for you and let Lucille know that you will be coming into the office late. To hold all of your meetings for you. Thanks, babe. You're welcome, honey. So what do you want for breakfast? You don't work today? I called in to take the day off to take care of my baby. I'll be available all day if you need me, if you know what I mean. Nevertheless, we made love all morning, and would have possibly gone another round if my cell phone didn't go off. What seemed like 10 times in a row. Honey, you better get that, she said as she headed to the bathroom for a break. Stacks for life. This is Stacks, I said as I picked up the phone. Boss. Yes? Lucille? You're not gonna believe this. What's up, Lucille? Talk to me. The Pharaoh made a diss song about the label. It's all over the streets. You're kidding me. Huh. And his lawyer is also on the line, saying that he wants out of his contract. Well, that saves me the trouble. What do you mean? I was gonna drop him from the label anyway. Good. I cannot stand that pompous asshole anyway. He is way too arrogant. You can say that again. But what are you gonna do about a headliner? I found one. Who? Adam. Adam. The A&R? Yeah, I mean, he's dope. But does he have a stage name? He calls himself The Formula. The Formula? Yeah, The Formula. Okay. Why that name? I guess he feels like he has the formula to rap down pat. I'll let him explain that at his first listening party. I want you to let the rest of them know about my decision to make Adam headliner and drop Fire the Pharaoh from the label. See who's behind pushing his project with us. In the meantime, I'm gonna have him ghostwrite for the Lady Godiva. I want to see what they can come up with minus our third wheel. Yes, sir. And have this diss track ready for me when I get to the office. I'm gonna hop in the shower, but I'll be on my way. As soon as I got to the office, all eyes were on me. Play it, I said, as I walked into the conference room unprepared for what I was about to hear. As they began to play the track, I began to wonder if what I was hearing was really from the same artist who I signed only a few weeks earlier. So ungrateful, Lucille said. Yeah, but it's kind of catchy, one of my employees said. Are you going to let Adam, The Formula, make a diss song in response? Oh, hell no. No. I said, we're going to be smarter than the Pharaoh and beat him by going platinum every album we drop. You with me? We with you, sir. So how's Adam? Adam will be in tomorrow to meet up with the Lady Godiva to begin ghostwriting for her project. We'll start on Adam's project once I have a chance to clear my head. After listening to the Pharaoh's diss track, I don't know if I can take any more added pressure to my plate. Besides, I don't want to steer him in the wrong direction based on my feelings for the Pharaoh at the moment. All in favor of making Adam the new headliner of Stacks for Life, say aye. The voting was a landslide. The votes were in. Lucille, let's plan a surprise welcome back party for Adam's return to the office tomorrow. Sure thing, boss. Champagne? That's right. Only the best for my team. Okay. Anything else? Yep. Get the Pharaoh's lawyer on the line. I'm going to my office to finalize this bullshit. Yes, sir. So I guess you heard the diss track. Yep, I heard it. My client is not happy with the way he has been represented at Stacks for Life and is going to be joining me at my new label. Where we will treat him like the star that he is. We are going to smash your label in sales. And when you are standing over there, over the rubble, over that shitty ass label of yours, we will see who is the real H&ICs of this rap shit. You're on, I said, as I hung up the phone more motivated than ever. Lucille? Yes, boss, she said. Set up a meeting with the Lady Godiva for tomorrow in the conference room. I want to update her on the news of our new headliner. And I want to be sure that she is on board with everything. We don't need any more competition amongst the label. Yes, sir, right away. Are you going to be taking any more calls for the rest of the day? No. I'm going to visit Adam, let him know that everyone at the label is on board with him signing as our headliner. Already? No time like the present. Yes, sir. What got you so motivated to make such a big move? The Pharaoh started a label with his lawyer and are trying to compete with us. Oh yeah? Oh God, she said. This is going to be ugly. We're going to be good. I'm behind you all the way. Good. Then I'll see you tomorrow. Yes, sir. When I pulled up to Adam's, he was shocked to see me. How did things go at the label? Pharaoh made a diss track. I know. I heard it. Him and his lawyers started their own label. Oh, God. Yeah, they want to compete with us. Well, let's give them a run for their money, he said. You ready? Big facts, he said. What you got? I've been waiting for you to ask this question. Check this out, he said as he hit play on his laptop. This track crushed anything I ever heard Adam spit. Damn, my guy. Shit's hot. Shit's hot, son. Thanks, man. When do I get to release it? Do you have a copy that I can take with me to my wife? I'll listen to it tonight with her, and when you come to the office tomorrow, I'll have your answer. Sure. Bet. Now play that shit again. Shit was rocking. No doubt. We listened to the track over and over before I realized what time it was, and I remembered that it had been hours since I spoke to my wife. Well, Adam, it's been real, but the boss gotta get some shut-eye. We got a big day ahead of us tomorrow. Get some rest, I said. I'm out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He said. See you tomorrow. Then we dapped up. I got in my car and headed home. On my way home, listening to Adam's track, I kept having flashbacks of the night when he saved me and my wife. I wondered to myself if he was able to handle the pressure of being in the spotlight and how he would deal with our competition. When I got to the crib, my wife was there to greet me at the door with a bottle of wine in her hand. She gave me a big hug as I walked in. I heard the song, she said. What do you think? I asked. I think he's an ungrateful asshole and has it coming to him. Why do you have such a big smile on your face? You're right, I said. That's a first. Thanks. That's not what I mean. I mean, I feel like you're actually listening to me. I feel like you're actually listening to me. I should have listened to you the whole time. Why do you say that? Adam, what happened? Well, he calls himself the formula now. Okay, what's up with the formula? Wait till you hear this. What's this? She said. I put the CD in her hands. Play it. Side note. In the actual book, and probably most likely whenever I get done editing all this stuff, anytime I say CD, I'm most likely gonna refer to like USB or flash drive, so it doesn't seem dated, to keep up with the times. As we continue on, dollars up. What's this? She said, as I put the improv USB in her hands. Play it. As she listened, her smile grew bigger than the one I had on when I walked through the door. She said, this cat is going off. Yeah, he's really something. Hell yeah, he is. You think he'll be able to handle the pressure of having such a big competitor this early in his career? He said he can handle it. Okay, honey. Don't get caught up in the hype. That lawyer seems to be a nuisance, and him and the Pharaoh may try and cause you bigger problems for your label when they find out you're taking Adam on as the new headliner at Stacks for Life. I promise, honey, I will not get caught up in any hype. Okay, babe. Get some sleep. You got a big day ahead of you tomorrow, and I don't want you to be late. You're right, babe. So we headed to the bed and got some shut-eye. At the label the following day, everyone was glad to have Adam back. After hearing Adam's response to the Pharaoh, no one seemed to look at Adam the same anymore. Everyone after that just referred to him as the formula. Even Lady Godiva was happier with him as the headliner and had no problem as him as her ghostwriter. I was the happiest, knowing that I was not going to have any more issue like the ones I was having with the Pharaoh at my label. To add to that, my new headliner, the formula, was going to put us on top where we belong, I thought. The day turned out so well that I invited Adam to dinner with me and my wife later that night. He accepted. That night, he accepted. That night, my wife made steak and potatoes for us and our guests, and we all sat around the table with a glass of wine each, toasting to the future. My wife said, I would like to make a toast to our new friend and fellow teammate, Adam, the formula. Hear, hear, I said. So, Adam, what made you want to be a rapper? She asked. I always really wanted to be a rapper. I'm from Boston, and I was the only white kid rapping where I'm from, he explained. Oh, Boston. Brought you to Nashville. Well, I've never been to the South, and I was told by some of my friends of mine back home that this was the music capital. So I ventured down here to see what it was all about. Unlike your husband, I can't sing. I can't stand country. So I chose to work for your husband's label because it has all genres, not just R&B. That was smart, Adam. Or should I call you the formula? Sure, Adam said. We're truly in debt to you. I heard your tracks and I told my husband, I'm proud of you too, and the way you're choosing to not respond to the diss track and just focus on making better music than your competition. You're right. I've seen it happen too often. Rappers get a deal, then let diss tracks ruin their career by responding to other artists instead of focusing on hit records. That's very wise of you. You two will make great partners. I'm praying for you and your success. Well, I'm off to bed. I will let you boys be boys. Don't forget to turn on the alarm system after you let Adam out. I won't, honey. After she went upstairs, we listened to the tracks Adam had been recording in his personal studio and started making preparations for his album to drop. The more I listened to each track, the more I had wondered why I had not found him earlier. I guess if I had, I would not have the artist he is now in him because of the one I lost, who is now in competition with. Don't worry about the other label, sir. We got the game mastered. Stacks for life. We got a real strong team. Everyone believes in each other, and there's no confusion who's running the show like there was before. Yeah, you're right, Adam. I'm glad I made the decision to put you on. You're a great commodity, you're loyal, and loyalty is royalty. True story, Mr. Stacks. I ain't going nowhere. It's till the wheels fall off with you. I mean it. Facts, I said. I feel the same. The next day came, and the team began seeing us together more and more, until the point we were almost inseparable. Whenever someone wanted to speak with me, they either went through Lucille or Adam, who everyone referred to as the formula at this point. Adam's fame was getting bigger at the label and on the streets. Word got back to the Pharaoh that Stacks for Life was going to release the formula's new record. Who is the formula cat I keep hearing about? The Pharaoh could not believe that Adam was the same artist who they call a formula, and that he really had a smash album that was about to drop. No way these cats think they're gonna see us, he said to his lawyer, who was his new boss. We too hot for these cats. Should we make another diss track? They still haven't responded to the first one, the lawyer said. Let's give it some time. Fuck that. The streets can't see me go out like that. I'm hitting the studio. Make another diss record. Do what you want, but I'm not investing in a diss record or diss album. Stacks for Life does not go on one. Stacks for Life does got one thing right. They know how to make hits. And that is what you should be focusing on instead of diss tracks, but have it your way. You're the artist. Just remember, I got you out of one contract. If your record doesn't go platinum, I'm not going to save you, the lawyer said. I got this, baby, the Pharaoh responded. Hits is what I do best. We're going to do more than platinum. We're going to be platinum for life. Okay, I'll believe that when I see it. You don't seem too confident, the pharaoh replied. Oh, I'm confident, the lawyer said. Just in myself. What's that mean? It means that maybe Stax was right. But I guess we'll let the music speak. It just better be worth my money, that's all. Oh, it will. Bet. After meeting the pharaoh, as we continue on, Dollars Up, Part 11, written by Aarao Cornelio Zinho, Aarao Cornelio Jr. Dollars Up. After meeting the pharaoh, after that meeting that the pharaoh had with his lawyer and new partner, he hit the studio harder. This time coming at the whole label, even mentioning my wife in one of the songs. You want me to make a diss track yet? Adams asked. What does your heart tell you to do? Fall back? Yep. Then I will. I just can't stand to hear him talking about the team like that. But you're right. There's a time and a place for everything. That's right. And diss records are a thing of the past. No one is even listening to that cat anymore. He's just battling himself. People want hit records. Battling was an 80s thing. Anyone who gets caught up in battling other labels misses the opportunity they have to create a vision for their fans to get to know who they really are as an artist. And frankly, kid, I don't want you to get hurt. What about you? What about me? I'm not a rapper. I'm Stax for life. Vicariously. I live through you. You're my voice. That's why I need you to be smarter than the rest. You have what it takes to be a CEO one day, but you can't do it if you're not here to see it. True story. So what if he makes another diss record? Diss records don't make careers, Adam. Hits make careers. You're right. I just don't know where my career would be right now if it wasn't for you. Consider it a return on investment. Remember, you saved my life before I chose to hire you. When you do good deeds for others, sometimes they have a chance to repay you, and it turns out to be worth your investment. But how is saving someone an investment? When I first began making music as a kid, my goal was to save my family from a life of poverty. Did you? No. We all saved ourselves by going to school and getting an education. See, rappers like the Pharaoh don't overstand that a diploma today isn't what it was yesterday. If they did, they would be stacked books instead of just bread. They would be stacking books instead of just bread. Because when the bread runs out, there is no guarantee you will be able to make that back without something to fall back on, like an artisan rapport position that got you to this point. That's facts. He said, sometimes I feel sorry for that guy. He's just full of his ego right now. He'll learn. But for now, I want you to think about yourself and your future as an entertainer. What kind of an entertainer will you be remembered as when you leave the industry behind you? Hopefully, a CEO like you, Stax. Well, if that is your goal, then that's how you should approach the industry. Like a real boss. Real bosses don't let their emotions rule them. Slackers do. Real bosses ensure their longevity by focusing on what will keep them eating the longest and ignore everything else. What about the Pharaoh? Let him diss. No one's listening. That's why he's upset. He knows you have the spotlight now, and he's trying to compete with you just like he's been from the start. Bet. I got it. I just wanted to make sure you were on board with everything before I decided to do anything. You're the boss. Thanks, Adam, for showing me that respect. That's why I put you on the game. I know you would not have a hard time understanding why I'm conveying this to you. Now get back in the studio and make those hits. I'll see you at the label on Monday. Facts. After Adam left, I joined my wife in bed. Honey, I'm scared. Babe, you do not have to worry about anything. I got security working twice as hard since the diss song came out. Babe, I'm not worried about myself. I'm worried about you and Adam. Are you sure he can handle the pressure of being headliner? We have been together too long for me to lose you now. I'm used to living this life, but do you think it's going to be too much for Adam to bear? Nah. I think he's got his head on his shoulders, and even though the crown may be heavy, I think it's a perfect fit. You're right. Sorry. I'm just nervous. He seems like such a good kid. He really is, I said. I guess some of us have angels. True story. I'm tired, babe. Let's get some sleep. We'll talk about this some more in the morning. Good night, babe. Good night. The weekend flew by and it was already Monday again. At the office, I asked Lucille to page Adam and have him come to my office. That's the other office. That's the other office. But she said no one has seen him all morning. That was odd. I called Adam's cell phone. He didn't respond. So I kept blowing him up until I could not take it, and I had to go by his house and see if he was okay. His family had not seen him either. "What did you do to my baby?" his mother ranted. "Nothing, Miss Thomas. I'm his boss, remember?" "Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. But I just been worked up since he went missing. When did you last see him, ma'am?" "We went shopping on Saturday for groceries for the house. That's the last I saw him. He mentioned that he was going to some studio to record a surprise track for his boss. I guess that would be you, and we haven't heard from him since then." "Did he mention where the studio was located?" "No. I'm worried he got mixed up with some bad rappers and they did something to him." Just as she started to cry, my cell phone began to ring. It was Adam. "Adam," I said, as I picked up the phone. "You got us all worried to death. Where are you?" "I'm back in Boston." "Boston? What are you doing back in Boston?" "Son, did you forget about our meeting this morning?" "Yeah, but wait till you hear this hit record I made in the studio with my guys from back home." "Son? Ah, are you trying to sun me now?" "I'm sure. Stacks. It's a hit. But you got everyone down here so worried about you." "Yeah, I didn't want to tell anyone I was leaving. It was supposed to be a surprise. You scared the living shit out of me and your family. Next time, at least tell Lucille. I did. What? That's when Lucille came out with a cake with Stacks for Life on it, along with my wife and Adam's family singing happy birthday to him. My wife put a birthday hat on my head as I began to sing along, realizing that my wife had planned this all along. After the song was over, I handed my phone to Lucille, as I was still confused to why no one told me Adam's birthday was today and how he got to Boston to record with his boys from back home. Honey, my wifey said, I know we usually talk about these kind of things before we go ahead and do this, but I went ahead and paid for Adam to have a trip to visit his friends and get some new inspiration since he did so much for us since we met. Thank you so much, Mr. Stacks. Your wife told us how our son saved you too and how you hired him for being there in the nick of time. All right, so pause. I have to take a break just for the cause. So as I'm explaining this story, I have to go back to not the beginning of when this audio book short story began, okay? When you look this up and then come back and listen to this audio book wherever you hear it, you go on YouTube or you go wherever you see it visually. You're not going to see it visually, but you're going to see me explaining basically the behind the story, the backstory to the story, like what caused me to write it and what I was writing about. This is Dollars Up. This is the fourth installment of either the 8 million stories of Aarao, whatever, Prince Aarao, Cornelio, or the Miseducation of Prince Aarao. I don't know what I'm going to call my collection, but so far I have 7 stories. So to bring you all back to speed, for anybody that missed it, it begins something like this. There's The Diary of a Glad Man, which is the first short story that I wrote. And I began writing all these stories in 2018 at 11934 Willowbrook Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90059, when I was out there living and working in my studio in the city of Compton, but also working in another studio in Hollywood, West Hollywood, with the legendary DJ Lazy K. I finished all completion of my stories, which is only 7 of them, short stories, each of them approximately like 20 pages long. Half of them, like 4 of them, when I returned. It took me 3 days to return. 2 weeks before I left is when I began writing them. Diary of a Glad Man. It was February the 21st, or I think it was like Martin Luther King's birthday, when I came home from this church that I attended in the city of Compton, the Watt side of Compton. Same block, 11934 Willowbrook Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90059, where I lived. I went to church one morning before I left, like a week before I left, approximately. When I came home from church, the first time I ever attended church in Los Angeles, really the only time I ever attended church in Los Angeles, in the neighborhood that I lived in, Compton, Watt side of Compton. It's called Willowbrook, if you ever been there. Other times, I actually did go to other churches, just not in the city of Compton, but that's neither here nor there. So I come home from this church at my apartment, 11934 Willowbrook Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90059. And I'm sitting in the driveway, and there's this couch. It's a big driveway. You could park about 20 cars in there, okay? So there's a little place where you could sit, where everybody smoked their cigarettes. And I sat there and I began to write down The Diary of a Glad Man. Approximately 3 days later, I was halfway done. By the time I boarded the Greyhound bus, I was all the way done. Okay, alright, so as we continue on. Dollars Up, part 12, I believe I said. Wait. Thanks so much, Mr. Stacks. Your wife told us how our son saved you two, and how you hired him for being there in the nick of time. He hasn't been home in so long to see his girlfriend and friends. He hasn't stopped talking about Boston since we came down here to support him in his career. Now I gotta pick up where I left off before the recording stopped. So many parts, because when it reaches 15 minutes it cuts off and I have to start another whatever. Alright, so I want to explain Adam's character, and that's for the purposes of, I could just imagine anybody that knows me would think that I'm referring to somebody who used to apprentice under me, as far as being an artist. Not everybody's familiar with me and my life story, let alone any of my short stories that are mostly based on my life story. My actual life story, okay? So Dollars Up is more so fiction, because you consider something fiction as a writer, from what I've studied as a writer, when legitimately the main character is not you. So for example, not to be confused with the Diary of a Law Student, which is a slew and a plethora of mostly vlogs that I record, which are my everyday experience as a law student at a technical platform, a teach out. Okay? So Diary of a Law Student or Diary of a Pit Panther or any variation of that is not Diary of a Glad Man or any variation of that. Diary of a Glad Man, okay? Diary of a Glad Man is a story, again, that I started writing when I lived in Compton and finished before I returned to PA. So being that, my goal eventually was to read off of paper the manuscript so that I could audibly record an audiobook. Until I actually found time to do that, I was creating videos of my everyday life as a law student here in Pittsburgh, and I had to call it something, but I didn't want to call it that, Diary of a Glad Man, because that was inevitably going to come out. So, not to confuse anything, just, lack of a name or whatever. But when it comes to the character, I've had artists that work with me, and one of the artists that I used to work with, he died in a studio as he was violently murdered and gunned down in Asheville, South Carolina. I think South Carolina, North Carolina, one of the two. I myself never been to Asheville, North Carolina. So what happened was, the studio where he was recording at, this friend of mine, it was robbed, and he died in the process of being there. But Adam is not this. The story is not me talking about what happened to him or explaining. The story Dollars Up was written back, like I said, around 2019, 2020. First three stories I began writing, I believe 2018 or 2019, pretty sure it's 2018, Martin Luther King's birthday, so it was like February or something. So I finished 3 stories, Diary of a Glad Man, Think Like a Cop, then Ounces to Pounds, before I even got here. I started writing Dollars Up, I stopped, I finished it literally, I think it was like almost like a year and a half later, I really took a break from writing short stories. I got brain fart. One day, sitting in my house, I suddenly, like, the writer's block came unblocked. I finally figured out how to get that writer's bug again, because it's like, when you've never written a book and all you've done is writing songs, you have to get used to writing something that's like in prose and not poetry. So it was easy for me to do this. And it mostly, when you ask a lot of authors who start writing, how do they find the inspiration to write? It's to write about their life. Most authors begin as a writer, if not as a musician, as an author, doing the same thing that musicians do, which is writing about their life experiences. But when you write about your life experiences so much that you can compile 3 short stories, even though they were only like 20 pages long a piece, they pretty much encapsulated most of my younger life. So what I had to do was find a way to have something to write about, because there was nothing left to write about. So at that point, I had to put myself in somebody else's shoes. And it began for a while, but then it circles back to, somebody that I could relate to, something that I could identify with if I took my own advice in life, and began to mature and not rely on music so much as a day job, but put it on the back burner and lay a foundation and then do your hobby. Okay? So I just wanted to explain that this story was already completed, and, for confirmation's sake, it was edited by a gentleman, well, really, Beverly Black, after Think Like a Cop was edited by a gentleman named Bruce George. So Bruce George was actually supposed to edit Dollars Up himself as well, but he already edited Think Like a Cop, and he recommended one of his editors, which is a, fantastic editor, so she could get some experience, and I had no problem with that. And here you have Dollars Up. So this was done literally probably around 2021, because I remember I was living in Newcastle at my apartment at Mahoning Township, 15 East Cherry Street, apartment 2, Newcastle, PA 16103 or 2, I believe. So, what I'm saying, just to let you know, because, for integrity's sake, I have to say that, I'm pretty sure nobody would want me writing about somebody who passed away. And I wouldn't do that out of integrity's sake, so I just have to explain that, creatively. You can imagine, that in rap there's beefs, but I've never had a rap beef, and I don't see myself ever having a rap beef. My friend passing away, it didn't really, to my knowledge, it didn't have anything to do with rap beefs. So for those who don't know my friend who passed away, who would think he's the kind of artist to start rap beefs, I don't think he's that kind of artist. He was just in a studio that, to my knowledge, as I read the paper, I wasn't there. The studio was robbed. He just happened to be there. He was working there. So I just, rest in peace to him. But this is a story that is just, fictitious. So, but for the most, fiction, right? For the most part, the reason why I stopped to explain this is because even though it wasn't about him, I do think about him when I think of this story. Because the moral of this story is, what would I do if, I could give advice to somebody who wanted to pour their whole entire life into music? In my experience of working with artists and my experience of being an artist myself, I poured most of my life into music, and I just was lucky. I happened to meet the right people, and I gained some form of notoriety to the point where if I ever wanted to pursue music with more intensity, there's a very good chance I've had record deals offered to me and I've denied them, there's a very good chance that I could get signed because some of those opportunities are still sitting on the table. But what was important to me that I told my friend who passed away before he passed away is that I finished school because I know how grimy the music industry. People get caught in contracts because they don't understand them. Rap beef starts because people are jealous. So fortunately, me and really nobody that I really know at all ever been in a rap beef. And I don't foresee myself ever getting in one because these days, I'm more of a business manager than a rapper. So, what I do for other artists is manage them. I create beats for them. I shoot videos for them, and I, provide security. And on my way to learning more and more about law so that when I'm done with forensic science or when I'm done with anything law pertaining, I could get back to my music with a degree and be more of an asset to anybody in the industry, whether it's fans or supporting cast, as somebody playing the back burner, as somebody my age should. You're like in your 40s, fall back and make beats. And people make plenty. Timberland, all those guys, you can make tons of money making beats for people. I'm good enough to make beats. I built rapport. There's people that are willing to buy my beats. People have bought my beats, right? Security, same thing. When a person graduates college and you have a degree in security, you've built rapport by working with the police or whatever, or doing security gigs, you're trustable. Maybe not the most gangster rappers may want you to be their security guard, but there's plenty of R&B artists that will hire you. Top 40, country, rock and roll. People hire people that don't want problems. So I'll always have a job in the music industry. But I did begin to tear up a little bit as I think of the character and how he's the type of guy that would put his life on the line for somebody to give him a chance. And he was somebody that was as hungry as I was at that age. So when I wrote the story, I just wrote it like any kid from my area or anywhere in America. There's a lot of people that, sometimes you get in with the wrong crowd, but your intentions are to do good. You just get caught up out there like that. So again, the moral of the story, when you get to the end of it, you'll see that there's more than one way to become successful in music. There's more than one way to be successful in life. But no matter what you do, there's going to be peer pressure, and there's going to be people that are going to be surprising you and become a major pain in your butt. So, if you're like Adam, the main character in my story, and you have a chance to make a living for yourself whenever you decide to put your hobby on the back burner, whether it's making music or whatever it is, you get lucky enough to get a job, don't blow it. And as much as it's, a pride thing or something that would seem like the right decision to feed into BS, think of all the rappers that have passed away, from Tupac to Biggie, Pop Smoke to Amigos and those guys. And unfortunately in this world, just like some people don't take me serious, they don't take pastors serious, people that could be their professors serious. Anybody serious is saying, hey, look, man, life is too short, don't beef. That's about it. Focus on your dollar, get your dollars up, and, life will give you as many days as you're willing to get your dollars up. Okay, so as we continue on to add some authenticity to it, I had to explain a little bit what was probably going to cause me not to be able to finish without tearing up. But we're back as we continue on. This is Dollars Up, Part 13, written by Aarao Cornelio, Italian Portuguese for Aarao Cornelio Jr. So yeah, we're going to pick up where we left off. And there's not too many pages left. We should be able to wrap this up before the library closes. So, here to support him in his career. Your wife found it in her heart to pay for a visit home for him so that he can celebrate his birthday with his girlfriend. And While he was up there, his girlfriend told him that she was pregnant. That's why he missed his flight to return to Nashville. He wanted to spend as much time with his new baby mom before he had to come back to work. He also was too shy to tell you all of this because she is moving down here to Nashville to live with him, and he did not want you to think he was going to abandon you in his music career. You all scared the living crap out of me. Of course. I do not mind if he takes some time off, Adam. All you gotta say is the word and it's done. You have been very generous to me and my wife. Enjoy your birthday, and I can't wait to meet you, your new baby mom, and hear this new hit you made. Thanks, Mr. Stacks. You're the greatest thing that happened to me since her, and I can't wait to introduce you to her when we come down to start our family in Nashville. I'm looking forward to it as well. After I hung up my cell phone, I damn near shit myself. Would you like a piece of cake, dear? Adam's mom asked. That's okay. I'll take a drink, though. Well, what are you having? Do you have any wine? Honey, I am a connoisseur of fine wines. Have some of this Merlot, she said as she brought out a bottle of her best and poured him a glass. I did not stop drinking until we left Adam's family's house. Why do you drink so much, young man? Well, to be completely honest, man, I've lost many friends to the street before becoming the CEO of my company. The last thing I want is something bad to happen to Adam. She said, we appreciate your concern. We thought you were another industry guy who was going to use our son for his worth and then leave him hanging until we met your wife. She explained how you climbed your way up from being a telemarketer, owning your own construction company, and other businesses. You are quite a skilled young man and have a lovely wife and are welcome at our house anytime. Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. After we ate all we could eat and drank all we could drink, we headed back to my house, and my wife couldn't stop talking about how she is going to spoil Adam's baby since we could not have one of our own. Babe, this family is really special, she said. You are right. I think we're all meant to be in each other's life for some reason. Facts, she said. Now I will have someone to gossip with while you and Adam are making those hit records of yours. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what he recorded up in Boston. They got some nice rappers up there. This could be our opportunity to find more talent through Adam. Baby. Oh yeah, true story. What's the matter? I just keep hoping one day I will get pregnant. I know that would make you so happy. Baby, I'm happy already because I have you, the love of my life. Even if we have to adopt, I'm going to do what I can so that you are just as happy as I am. Do you mean that? Every word, I said. Oh, baby, I love you. I protect you, babe. Is there anything you need before we pull up to the crib? Yeah. Drive us by the store. I have to get a few things for the house and another bottle of wine for us to celebrate. Sure, I said. So we drove by the store and got the things we needed and headed back to the house in time for the late night news. When we got home, I was so exhausted, I hit the sack immediately without shutting off our bedroom TV. My wife came out of the bathroom with the pregnancy test in her hand. Babe, you're never gonna believe this. What's up, babe? I'm pregnant. You are bullshitting me. No. Babe, really, pregnant. My eyes opened up and I looked at the pregnancy test and really almost shit myself this time. I ran to the bathroom and threw up all that I had been drinking that night, and we went back to the store to get another test, as I was not convinced that I was not dreaming until the third or fourth test, which all came back the same. Babe, she said, yeah, you love me. With all my heart. I protect you, I said. Then why are you still in bed looking nauseous as a pregnant woman? Because I've been waiting for this day my whole life. That's why I was drinking so much earlier. When I found out that Adam had a baby mama, I actually felt a little jealous of him for the first time since I've known him. The first time? She asked. Well, actually, the first time was when he saved us from getting robbed that night, so that would actually make this the second time. Yeah, well, don't get too comfortable, or I might leave you for Adam if you don't roll your ass over here and make love to me like you mean it. You know what they say, pregnant beep is the best beep. As soon as she said that, it was all over. I snapped out of my daze and began making love to her until the morning. Then we both passed out in each other's arms and did not move until the sunrise woke her up and lifted her out of her bed, leading her to the kitchen to make us both breakfast. While I was still sleeping, I forget that the night before, I forgot to turn on the alarm system and someone had slipped into the house undetected, grabbed my wife from behind, covering her mouth so that I could not hear her make a peep. By the time I woke up, someone had got away with my wife and left a note on the counter reading, "If you want the bitch back, have $1 million ready to be forwarded to a select account by midnight tonight. Otherwise, you may never see your wife again." I just about lost it when I woke up to find the note on the kitchen counter and my wife missing. After I called the police and reported the incident, Lucille and Adam showed up with Adam's girlfriend. "I'm so sorry, CEO Stacks," she said. "I heard so much of your wife. You must be going crazy." "Don't worry, Stacks. We'll find her," Adam said. As much as I tried to hold it in, I could not help but burst into tears as my dream of being CEO of a music label became a living nightmare. My wife was missing. My kid was in her stomach. The cops are clueless, and my artist was looking up to me for direction, which I could not give him at the time due to the current event. "Thank you for your kind words, but I want you to go home with your girlfriend, Adam, and let the police do their job. You know who's behind this, sir. It's the Pharaoh. The rapper, the Pharaoh. Adam. It's too early to point fingers. I want you to go home with your girlfriend and no diss records. Do you promise?" "I promise," he said. "I got enough to deal with without my baby, let alone start a rap feud with a clown who may not have anything to do with her turning up missing." "Yes, sir." After they left immediately, I called up my accountant and had him ready to forward the money, or to have the money forwarded to the select account the kidnappers disclosed by midnight. I sat there in our living room, cell phone in hand, tears in my eyes, thinking about my life and my wife, our new family once I had got her back. I kept praying to God that she would just walk through the front door and this would be all over. Or maybe someone would come out of the kitchen and this would be another prank. But it was not. It was real as the streets that raised me, as much as I had a hunch that the Pharaoh, the rapper the Pharaoh, could have something to do with this. I did not want to make things any worse trying to be a hero. I kept having flashbacks of the night we almost got robbed, and I thought to myself, how much of a hero Adam looked like in the eyes of my wife. So I called the label and told Lucille set up an appointment with the Pharaoh at the label for 2 p.m. The rapper, the Pharaoh, was shocked to get a call from the label, but showed up anyway with his lawyer, who was his new boss. I'm sorry about the news, the lawyer said. What news? I said, as I played dumb to try and throw them for a loop. Your wife missing? Yeah, well, that's too bad the kidnappers aren't smart as they believe. Otherwise, they would have asked for the company stocks too. Wait, you would have been willing to trade your company's stocks for your wife back on top of the $1 million? Yep. That would leave you back on the streets where you started. You would no longer have your label to fall back on. What would you do? Flip hamburgers for a living if I had to. Yes? You never cease to amaze me, Stax. 1 minute you're investing in some silly white boy, and now you are willing to throw everything you worked so hard for away for love. Didn't the game teach you that love don't love nobody? Yep, but the game also taught me that loyalty is royalty. And everyone you see here at Stax is family. These friends for life and loyal for life. Are you that committed to your clients? That's when the Pharaoh blurted out that it was the lawyer's idea and they had his wife tied up in the trunk not too far from where they are now. All that I would have to do, as I said, and sign my company over to the lawyer and she would be mine again. Without hesitation, I signed the label over to the lawyer and was back to square one again. Smart choice, Stax, the lawyer said. Lot 5, as he tossed me a set of car keys. But I hope you get there in time because the clock is ticking until midnight and it's up to you to find her. Just remember that once you leave this office, it's mine. Fine, I said. Fine. I said, as I ran out of the office looking for my wife. What they had not known was, I was tapped the whole time, and they told on themselves as they confessed their crime, and the FBI came rushing in as they were listening to the conversation the whole time. When I got outside the label, Lucille and Adam and his girlfriend were there to embrace me as I burst out into tears. Lot 5! Lot 5! We heard what they said. Just give us the key. You did your part. Let us find her. So I gave up the key and off went the sirens. I was so shook that afternoon, more shook than I ever been my whole life. I finally found the love of my life, and she was finally about to give birth to my child, and some gangster wannabes took her from me. I could not let this ever happen again. I fell on my knees right there in the parking lot. Man, Yo, son. And Adam's family and I all said a prayer for my wife's safe return. And as soon as I looked over my shoulder, I saw the two Goonies who were behind all of this and almost jumped over the two officers to strangle them. It's over, Stax. It's over. We found your wife. She's okay. These sorry punks will be going to jail for a long ass time. You're gonna be okay. You did the right thing. You're gonna be okay. Where is my wife? I said. She's on the way. A squad car is bringing her here right now. Oh my, man, this really hits different. Like, you know, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna shed no tears. But literally, I'm lightweight tearing up because not only the whole situation of like, you know, how I feel for like a character like Adam, whatever, and like just really the whole, you know, I haven't read this since I wrote it, basically, since it was edited and returned to me via email. So, once again, I do have to thank Beverly Black and Bruce George and for giving me the opportunity to be a Genius's comment partner and for honoring my request to edit 2 of my books. Bruce George, editor of Think Like a Cop, meaning he did the clerical editing. And Ms. Beverly Black, who I never met, but I thank you so much, who did the clerical editing of what you're hearing now. This is Dollars Up. Where is my wife? I said. She's on the way. A squad car is bringing her here right now. When my wife arrived on the scene, she hopped out and came running straight towards me. We hugged each other and swore to never leave each other's side ever again. The next night, the news aired the story that I gave up my music label and career as well, left my millions to my secretary, Lucille, so that I could retire and live a quiet life with my wife, Michelle. 1 year later, me and Adam and I sat on my porch in the country with both of our wives holding our babies, laughing about the days we used to stress over this music shit. What do you think Lucille is doing right now? Secretary. I don't know, but I'm glad we are here now. Facts, Adam said. I would rather have this family life over everything. That's what I know, I said. As we sat there on my porch, watching our babies play together, I couldn't help but to smile, knowing that this chapter in my life was beginning and the last was closed. What are you going to do now? Adam asked. My babies are here now. Dollars Up.